All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to unpack this incredibly haunting mystery found inside a lost manuscript. It's a story that kicks off with grief, sure, but it quickly spirals into this amazing puzzle box of family secrets, hidden journals, and, yeah, a door that opens up to, well, the impossible. And it all starts with this line, which just immediately sets this heavy, almost gothic mood. We meet two sisters, Caroline and Lily, and they're living in this house that's just soaked in mourning. And that empty chair, it's not just a piece of furniture. It's like a presence, you know? The whole house feels like it's holding its breath, just waiting for something. And you better believe something happens. Right into that heavy silence walks a complete stranger, a young man who's about to totally shatter their quiet little world with a question that just does not belong. So this guy, Thomas Garrison, just appears. He's standing across the street just looking at their house. He's a neighbor who went off to war and came back, well, different. His silent watch completely breaks the spell of isolation around the house, and they end up inviting him in, basically pulling this whole mystery right through their front door. And this is the question where everything just flips. See, Thomas isn't just there for a cup of tea. He's actually investigating a whole series of impossible disappearances from a hospital in France way back in 1918. And somehow, all the clues lead right back to Caroline and Lily's mother and this place he calls the Blue Room. That one single, totally bizarre question sends the sisters to a part of their own house they haven't touched for years, their dad's old locked desk. And inside, they find the very first real clue to a past their mother never, ever talked about. The discovery of this notebook is literally the key that starts to unlock this whole thing. I mean, the blue leather cover, it's a direct echo of what Garrison just asked. It's the first physical piece of the puzzle that says, hey, maybe this guy's impossible story isn't so impossible after all. So as Caroline starts to read from this journal, boom, we're right there with her, transported back to 1918. Their mother, who was a young nurse named Louise Hartley, describes getting lost in this huge maze-like hospital, the Chateau de Mornay. She finds this strange hallway, and at the very end of it, there's a door made of blue wood that's impossibly warm to the touch. And from there, the journal entries just get weirder and weirder, detailing these baffling disappearances. It starts with one soldier, Jensen, who couldn't have possibly walked away. Then another, Davies, who was literally strapped to his bed. But then, and this is where it goes completely off the rails, a Corporal Hughes vanishes after being pronounced dead. Yeah, this is not just soldiers wandering off. This is something else entirely. And then we hit the climax of this first journal. On the exact day Louise predicted something would happen, she opens that blue door. And inside, she finds all 23 of the missing people, alive and completely unchanged, as if not a single second had passed for them. So it becomes pretty clear pretty fast that the Blue Room isn't just a physical space. The manuscript calls it a supernatural threshold. It's one of those thin places you hear about, where the walls between different times are weak. It's a door that doesn't lead to another room. It leads somewhere else. Just when they think they might have a handle on this story, they find another locked drawer, and inside, a second journal. This one is way older, bound in red leather, and it throws them even deeper into the mystery by taking it all back another generation, revealing where the blue door came from in the first place. So this journal belongs to the guy who owned the chateau back in the 19th century, and it turns out Comte Henri de Mornay wasn't just some aristocrat, he was an occultist, totally obsessed with these thin places. He didn't just find the threshold, he's the one who built the door to open it. And the reason he was doing all this research, it's absolutely heartbreaking. His obsession had a devastating cost. His curious daughter, Marguerite, found the very door he created, opened it, and she became the first person to be lost inside the Blue Room. Through all his obsessive research, the Comte discovers this pattern. He calls it a convergence, a moment that happens every 29 years when the threshold can be opened from both sides. He figures the next one is in 1889, his chance to get Marguerite back. But the pattern continues, right to 1918, the exact year their mother was at that chateau. So, by connecting all the clues from both the blue and the red notebooks, the sisters uncovered this shocking, repeating pattern. This whole thing isn't just about people disappearing, it's about a grim, supernatural exchange. And here it is, the central, mind-bending twist of the whole story. The woman they knew as their mother was not Louise Hartley. She was Marguerite de Mornay, the Comte's daughter from the 19th century. In 1918, she stepped out of the Blue Room, and their biological mother, Louise, stepped in, taking her place. A one-for-one trade. This timeline lays out the full, shocking cycle. Every 29 years, that door opens and a swap happens. Marguerite goes in back in 1889. She gets out in 1918, but only because Louise goes in. Then, in 1947, Louise gets out, and Marguerite, the woman who raised them, goes back in, and the cycle is set to repeat again in 1976. So this whole supernatural phenomenon, it turns out, has rules. Rule number 1, it's a threshold between times. It connects different years, different places. Rule 2, it operates on a very strict 29-year cycle. And rule number 3, and this is the most important one, the balance must be kept. For one person to come out, another person has to go in. All of this brings us to the story's powerful conclusion. This whole impossible, generational legacy of exchange and sacrifice, it all comes down to one of the sisters, Caroline. And this is how personal the threat has become. On the day of the next convergence, the threshold isn't miles away in some abandoned French chateau. It manifests right there, in their own home, in the very room where their mother spent her final years waiting. The Blue Room? It followed them. In a final letter, their father reveals he knew about the swaps the entire time, and he frames the blue door not as some curse, but as a profound, terrifying choice. A choice he knew that his daughter Caroline would one day have to make. When the door opens, Caroline sees her true mother, Louise, still a young woman, just waiting on the other side. And understanding the rule of balance, she makes the ultimate choice. She says goodbye to her sister and steps through, taking her mother's place in that timeless, waiting blue. And the manuscript ends on this haunting idea. The Blue Room isn't a prison that's forced on someone. It's a choice that's made. A cycle of sacrifice to maintain this fragile balance across time. And it leaves us all with one final question. If that impossible door appeared in front of you, which way would you go?